Imagine this. You've been learning English for quite some time and you're pretty confident in your skills. But then you meet somebody from the UK and it's like they're speaking a completely different language. They drop sounds, they speak fast, and half of the words don't sound like the words that you've learned. You even ask yourself, mate, is this even English? Over the last 10 years, I've worked with so many people who said they felt the same way. They felt like they couldn't communicate with native speakers, and it really hurt their confidence. And the problem is, the English that you learned and the English that we speak in the UK is not always exactly the same. Don't worry though. Today, I'm going to show you 5 key accent features that will help you get started understanding any British English accent. So let's get cracking. Hey up mate, and cheers for finding this video. My name is Dan. I'm a CELTA qualified British English teacher with over 10 years experience, and my goal is to help you feel more confident when you're communicating in English. Today, we're talking all about understanding British accents, and before we get started, I've got a free Navigating British Accents guide that you can download using the link in the description that'll help you out understanding all of this stuff. When it comes to British English, most people think of an RP accent, received pronunciation, or BBC English as people call it. And I understand why. It's clear, it's standard, it's quite a good way to learn pronunciation, but there's a big problem. Only around 3% of people in the UK actually speak this way. So that's why you're probably pretty good at understanding other non-native speakers or teachers or your textbooks, but when you actually meet a native speaker from Glasgow or Newcastle or Birmingham or whatever, you get completely overwhelmed and you just feel totally lost. Understanding different British accents can feel a bit like trying to tune in a radio, right? It's all English, but the signal sounds a bit different depending on where you are in the country. Sometimes you just need to fine-tune your ears a little bit to get what people are actually saying. So today, I'm going to show you some really common pronunciation techniques that we use in loads of different British English accents. Now, I'm not suggesting that every single British English accent uses all of these things, but they're so common that you should probably try and understand them if you want to communicate with native speakers. And when you understand these techniques and what's really happening, you'll follow conversations much more easily, and you'll connect with people and you'll stop feeling like everyone's speaking a completely different language. So let's start tuning your radio, and the first big difference is noticeable in the word bath. Now, this technique is one of the most famous differences between accents in the north and the south of England. And it's all about whether you use the long R, like in father, or use the short A, as in cat. And the answer depends on where you are. Now, in the south of England, Oxford, London, Brighton, whatever, you're quite likely to get this longer R sound. And these words sound like ask, grass, and dance. Okay? But in the north, where I'm from, or even, Manchester, Newcastle, blah, 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 we tend to use the shorter A vowel. And these become ask, grass, and dance. Okay? So look at this example. Could I ask you not to dance on the grass? Could I ask you to not dance on the grass? Or could I ask you to not dance on the grass? As you can see, lots of words will be pronounced differently depending on where you are in the country, and it might take you a bit of time to get used to it, but it's a really big thing to be aware of if you want to understand us Brits. Now that's one vowel split, but there's another one hiding in words like book and cup. So let's tune into that next. So this one is called the foot-strut split, And it causes quite a bit of confusion if you're not aware of it. So in some British accents, we make a big difference between the vowel sounds in these words, and in other places, we pronounce them exactly the same. Let's have a look. So in the word foot, the vowel sound in the north and the vowel sound in the south is exactly the same. Foot, foot. Doesn't matter which one. But in the north, the word strut has the same vowel sound as the word foot. Foot, strut. They sound the same. But if you go down south and look at southern accents, they've got this sound. So they've got foot, strut. Foot, strut. They don't sound the same, right? And this also happens with these words. So in the north, we get bus, but in the south, we get bus. Love, love. Cup, cup. Okay, so let's look at an example. So in the north, this would be look at that lovely bus. Look at that lovely bus. But in the south, it would be look at that lovely bus. Look at that lovely bus. Now this is the same in both. It's no matter where you are. But this one is in the north and in the south. And this one is in the north and in the south. Now that's the vowel sounds taken care of, but what about other sounds that we just don't pronounce? Let's move on to one of the biggest features of modern British speech. Now you've probably seen the memes online about bottle of water, right? Well, there is actually quite a bit of truth in it. Lots of accents in the UK don't pronounce the T between vowels or at the end of words, and this is called a glottal stop, or should I say glottal stop. Let's have a look. So a glottal stop happens when the T sound is replaced by a small pause in your throat. The vocal cords close for a moment instead of pronouncing the full T sound. So instead of glottal, you'll get glottal, right? It's really common in loads of London accents like Cockney or Estuary English, and you'll also hear it in parts of the Midlands and Scotland, and it was quite common where I grew up in Yorkshire too. So basically, we replace the T with a little pause when the T is at the end of a syllable and the next syllable starts with a consonant. We're going to drop that T and it's going to become network, Scotland, absolutely. We also drop the T sound when it's between two vowel sounds. We've got O and bottle, bottle. Between O and in water becomes water, and between B and T in butter becomes butter. And we also drop the T at the end of words. So what becomes what, foot becomes foot, and important becomes important. So listen out for that tiny little pause. It's not somebody being lazy or unclear, it's just a natural part of how many British people speak. So we've covered the vowels and what gets dropped. Now let's talk about what gets changed. Ever notice that some Brits will say think instead of think? Well, here's why. So instead of the TH sounds that you're used to, you know, th and v, some native speakers will change it for a f or a v. And it's not because we're lazy, it's because it makes it a little bit easier to pronounce some of these words. It's strongly associated with like Cockney accents, but it has spread to various accents around the UK, including mine. So let's look at these words. Think, the th sound becomes f, and we get think. Brother, the th in the middle, becomes v, and we get brother. And nothing, the th becomes f, and we get nothing. So instead of saying, my brother thinks it is funny, you might hear, my brother thinks it's funny. Another version of this is called TH stopping, and this is where the th and the sounds become t and d. This is especially common with Irish accents, but it does happen in other UK accents too. For example, three can become tree, and there can become there, and that can become dat. So for example, that's the place over there, that's the place over there. It can be very confusing if you're not prepared for it, but now you should have got a better idea of what people are actually saying. Now, let's look at a sound that completely disappears in a bunch of different UK accents. In most of England, people don't pronounce the R sound at the end of a syllable unless it's followed by a vowel. These are called non-rhotic accents, and it's something that you need to be aware of. Not all UK accents do this though. Lots of accents in Scotland or Ireland in the West Country, people do pronounce that R, but let's take a closer look. So when an R sound appears after a vowel, like this, especially at the end of a syllable or a word, we usually drop it. Either the vowel sound ends up being a bit longer, or it's replaced with a schwa sound. So car, we don't really pronounce this R, and the vowel just is quite long. Car, car, not car, car. Okay, look at more. So the O sound is there, and we get rid of this R, and it's more, not more, more, more. We look at this one, teacher at the end of the word. So we're going to get rid of this R, and we've got this schwa sound, and it's teacher, teacher, not teacher, teacher, teacher. So if we look at this sentence, my teacher doesn't drive a car anymore. My teacher doesn't drive her car anymore. We don't pronounce any of those R's. However, there's one other thing you need to be aware of. If we look at the word better, we'll know that the R is at the end of the word, so we're going to skip it, and we get better. Better, not better, better, better. However, when we want to link words together, we want to link these sounds together, because we would get rid of this R, we get better off. But when we want to link them together to make it easier, we put that R back. This is called linking R, and we get better off, better off, better off. This R is put back in to make it easier to link those two things together. So those are the 5 key features to focus on if you want to understand British accents. We've got the bath trap split, the foot-strut split, we've got glottal stops, we've got TH fronting and TH stopping, and the non-rhotic R. You'll hear different combinations of these things across the UK and the different UK accents, and once you start to recognize them, everything becomes clearer. You'll follow conversations more easily and feel much more confident. If you'd like to go a bit deeper into some of this stuff, I've put together a free Navigating British Accents guide that you can download using the link in the description. It's got everything we covered today with other examples so you can train your ear step by step and feel more confident in UK conversations. The link is in the description. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back again with another one really soon. But until then, look after yourself. See you there.